It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
And welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast, getting through our working week and talking property 7 days a week. Yes, it's a Thursday morning, August the 29th, getting very, very close to September, aren't we? And the block in Phillip Island. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Contestants are building holiday houses. More Aussies, of course, are going to be discovering this. Plenty of drama going on at the moment. Phillip Island's population, if you're wondering about that, is just under 14,000. Having a look at the median house price in Cairns, the island's largest township, that is around $780,000. As we mentioned a few weeks ago, Phillip Island is around 90 minutes. It's a comfortable drive to Melbourne. And let's right now take you there to Kristina Walters. And Kristina is from O'Brien Real Estate. Kristina, good morning. Welcome to the Real Estate Breakfast.
Hi, Craig. Thank you so much for having me.
So lots of drama unfolding as people watch the 20th season of the block. No doubt plenty of people coming in to have a little bit of a look around, because this is the whole thing with the block. It does attract plenty of eyeballs, doesn't it?
That's right. Yeah, definitely. That's been always like a big attraction from their audience, such as on TV, and also, of course, lots of people curious what's actually happening in real life. So we're definitely seeing much more activity here.
Now, you were saying that you've been working in that local market for about 5+ years. I mean, what a great marketing campaign this is. The block comes to town. Everybody's talking about it, hence the reason we're talking to you this morning.
Yeah, that's right. That's actually been a lot of talks in the community as well. Pretty much since the day one, it's been announced that the block is coming to Phillip Island. And of course, at the beginning, there was lots of conversations what they're going to do at the site, because site looked completely different before. It was like a holiday resort with a few villas there. Everyone, of course, was anticipating how is it going to look like, what they're going to do there. So yeah, lots of locals were intrigued. And now that it's already start having a bit of shape, it's even more exciting.
Yes, well, of course, because you are there locally, you can actually see the finished article, which we won't talk about because the show at the moment is underway. But when that was first sold, that block, that site, I think they paid about $8.7 million, and you would have just watched the transformation, which, of course, has taken it to a whole new level.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually was a bit of a intrigue as well who purchased it, because it was operating as a resort, as I said. Like, it's always have quite a few guests coming and staying there as far as we know. Now, I think what the final product there, it will be completely different. It will be on the level of the block. I'm sure like your audience saw the previous season. So they do an absolutely luxury product at the end with a lot of super nice features. So, and I'm sure this year it will be again on the same level.
Now, let's talk about the locals there, particularly those sellers, those vendors, because lots of prospective vendors I am picking will be thinking, hey, there's a lot of attention here that is coming on to our area, which is going to bring more people into the area, and then the prices might go up. In fact, maybe even a little bit of a mini real estate boom for your area. Is it fair to actually state that might be in the minds of prospective sellers?
Absolutely. So from the day one, when it was announced that the next block season will be on Phillip Island, I start having these conversations with almost every second prospective seller, pretty much asking me exactly the same question: is what's going to happen with the market? Are the prices going to increase? Are we going to have another boom? And of course, everyone's hoping on that, because the block will put Phillip Island on the map of real estate as well, for those who hasn't been here, who didn't know about it as a holiday destination. The reality, if we don't know, if we really want that being the case, there, of course, will be a lot of marketing activity. And of course, lots of people will find out about Phillip Island being a fantastic place to have a holiday house. We will see. We'll see how the things go after the auction.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's any evidence to support the past 19 series, whether or not there has been an uptick. So it could be a little bit of wishful thinking by prospective sellers. You got to kind of manage all of that, don't you? Because on the one hand, you've got all of this great attention. You've got prospective sellers getting really excited, thinking, hey, wait a minute, I might get a few extra dollars. And then you've got to temper that with perhaps reality of what might unfold.
Yeah, exactly right. And other thing is, like, I also, like, in around the first months of winter, I had conversations with a lot of sellers who were holding on selling their properties. And they said, like, look, we're probably going to list it in spring, because, first of all, it's known the spring being a better time to sell, and block will be on air. So what if the market will go up and we don't want to miss out? Another thing is like, there's a lot of sellers who thinks this way, and what they probably don't think about is, like, it might bring a lot of competition. But of course, like, if it brings the marketing activity, it's more attention from the prospective buyers, to have more stock will be even better.
And we are talking with Kristina Walters this morning, and she is in Phillip Island. As we mentioned, plenty of eyeballs on this year's The Block, and we'll come back and talk more about the area and what is happening with the prices on property next.
From first-time home buyers to seasoned investors to breaking property news, discover the stories behind the real estate. It's time to go back to the Real Estate Vault for this week's property comment.
Perhaps the politicians are not paying as much attention to the millennials, particularly with the housing crisis. What do you make of all of that?
The idea here is quite simple. We would say that a very self-interested politician, this is of course only a hypothetical figure. I'm sure all politicians have the interest of the whole population in mind, but a self-interested politician might only be concerned about their voters, not the particular society as a whole. And while we talk a lot about the millennials by far being the biggest generation in Australia, they actually aren't the biggest generation in Australia. If you only look at the voting public, if you only look at Australian citizens, there's such a big chunk of the millennial population that are not citizens yet. These are migrants in their 20s, 30s and early 40s. They make up about well over a third of this cohort. So they can be completely ignored. And then some of the millennials are already homeowners. So you have them on your side if you have a policy, a political platform that pushes for high house prices. So you don't really need to take the concerns of millennials that might want to enter the housing market all that seriously. Even though they are the strongest and biggest cohort, you can kind of push their concerns aside.
From buying strategies, a fluctuating market, the importance of data, geographical differences, confidence in the market, rental yields. Stay informed every morning from 6 a.m.
And right now it is time for another property tip. We are catching up with David Liskow in Hobart again. Good morning to you, David. What have you got for us this morning?
Thanks for having me again, Craig. Look, I just want to talk about the market in Tassie briefly again and trying to find our way through this time with interest rates, etc. I do feel like that we are going to get a turn in a positive direction. My advice to investors, if you can hang on rather than having to sell a property, because I do see some real prosperity down here. And if you can hold your nerve, make a way just to keep the property, I think in the next 6 to 12 months, things will start to look very promising.
Every morning from 6 a.m. across Australia, we deliver you the latest property news, commentary and predictions.
And it's a Real Estate Thursday. We are in Phillip Island and talking about the block, talking about the real estate market there with Kristina Walters. We were talking last time about your market being in a bit of a softening position over the last 12 months. The infrastructure is kind of pushing things along in terms of jobs in the area. The hospital is one to mention.
Yeah, that's right. So as you mentioned, is for the last 18 to 12 months, we, of course, also been affected, our market been affected by the rising interest rates because we're mostly dealing with investors, so people who buy in holiday houses. But now we actually start noticing more activity from the buyers who are looking an owner-occupier home because they see that, as you mentioned, one of the things is there's a new hospital coming, hopefully very soon. There's a new campus of the Wonthaggi Secondary College was opened in St. Remo, which is just before the bridge, before you go to the island. So infrastructure is developing, and that's actually a really great thing to bring more owner-occupiers to the area, which we like noticing, I think, for the last few months. There's definitely that proportion between the buyers who just buy in the holiday houses and permanent residences that I believe changed a little bit.
All right. Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how everything unfolds on the block there. You'd be looking forward to the auction. Have you got any direct involvement with the Shears block?
Well, I don't think we can sort of disclose it at this stage, but what I can say is definitely there's quite a few local agents involved and a few Melbourne agents as well. So, but I'm sure everyone will see it on the show very, very soon.
All right then, Kristina. Well, thank you for that. Enjoy your day. Thanks for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast, and good luck with the block and how it all ends up.
Thank you so much, Craig. Thanks a lot.
From interest rates rising, a shifting landscape, rentals running hot, clearance rates, a tight rental market, we cover it all every morning from 6 a.m. on the Real Estate Breakfast.
You think about living in a house that's, really dark all the time and always really cold, and you don't quite relax ever. It can have a really big impact on your mental state. And so all of these things we really need to be concentrating more and more on when it comes to buying a house.
I can never understand why people buy on busy roads. So to your point, if you've got a dark property and maybe one that isn't facing north on a very busy road, you'd be going out of your mind in 6 months.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? I grew up under a flight path in Sydney, and we would regularly, conversations would stop when an aircraft came in to land, and the noise just kind of took over, and the conversation would keep on going as soon as it passed over, and none of us really noticed it. But when it comes to certain noises, particularly road noises, it can be really, really disruptive and really damaging.
And then we're seeing semi-detached cottages. Ashfield has also become a strong market where they've been in the high 1s to 2 for semis, and we're seeing a lot of those people sell and upgrade into houses to get into something larger.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.